Hello, my name's Andy Barnard. I'm Head of Geography at St Peter's Roman Catholic High School in Gloucester.
My name's Jo Pole and I'm the Head of Learning Development at Wangels College in Reading.
Two new heads of department, two different schools, two different sets of challenges.
We had pictures of volcanoes, we had pictures of cities, we had pictures of beautiful beaches.
My major ambition, and the major ambition for the department, is to make geography one of the most popular subjects in the school, if not the most.
I am ambitious in a realistic point of view, based on my ability to do the job and to develop the role and give something back.
So we should have fewer numbers of children with literacy difficulties. So well done, girls, that's fantastic.
The head said to me, we're not employing the finished article, we're employing someone who we think has got potential and got to work on. So he's expecting mistakes and I'm making them.
It has been a hellish week. It has been so stressful and demanding.
St Peter's Roman Catholic School in Gloucester is a large, multicultural comprehensive with pupils from a wide variety of backgrounds. At just 25, Andy Barnard has become the new head of geography. It's his 4th year of teaching. Wangels College near Reading has just under 1,500 pupils from a predominantly white, middle-class background. Jo Pole, who previously worked in further education, is an experienced manager. As head of learning development, she now has a staff of 40, not surprising given the number of special needs students, but she's never taught in a secondary school before.
The start of any new term is always a little bit difficult. I've only been there 2 terms now. I am concerned about the teaching side because it can be difficult. Some of the behaviour can be quite challenging at times.
My wife gave birth to my 2nd child this weekend, which was absolutely a fabulous experience, wonderful experience for me. I'm not taking 2 weeks paternity leave because I feel that there's too much to do and I've got a lot to do within school and I want to make sure that I'm making the most of what's been available.
It's week 1 of Andy and Jo's first summer term as heads of department. In this series, we'll be following their progress across the whole of this crucial exam-taking term, finding out along the way what it takes to make it in the middle.
The skills needed for middle leadership are not naturally there, or at least they need to be developed. And I think nationally it's been an area where there hasn't been enough attention paid. People have, and programmes are in existence to support colleagues who are starting teaching, and to a degree people are moving into senior leadership. So I think that key area in the middle there is the one where there is a gap.
I get into work about 7:45, work through as much as I possibly can before the morning meetings, which are at 8:45.
Only a few things to go through this morning. Coursework, I put moderation, but coursework deadlines. Coursework needs to be in on the 5th of the geography. What Angie and I said, I wrote on there about maybe looking at it Tuesday night, perhaps 3 each, but Angie sort of said what might be better is if we swap a couple of scripts we're worried about. It's what we've done in the past, isn't it? Yes. And then
all the other staff in the department have senior jobs, so it could be awkward for Andy, who's only been a teacher for 4 years.
And I've actually found that they've been quite positive to me coming in, far more than I thought was going to be the case before I started.
If we can get Rob.
I trust them, and I've trusted them from an early stage, and I think because in schools people are professionals and you don't need to sit on them all the time, you don't need to be checking every form filled in properly or every lesson plan's done to the biggest detail that you can possibly get.
No, lovely. Cheers, guys. Thank you, guys.
I think a very easy error they can make is because they're young and because they may feel, in quotes, vulnerable, they may avoid initially the hard decisions if they are unhappy with some classroom performance. And we have to give them the strength and support to say, you can't opt out of that. That is the fundamental part of your job.
Apart from teaching, of course.
Well, first of all, I think a head of department has to be a first-rate classroom practitioner, because I think that's where their credibility comes from. I'm very, very pleased with Andrew. When we saw him in the classroom, we saw he had that relationship, we saw he had the spark, and we wanted to interview him.
Jackets off, coats off. I've got your book, so there should be no reason to hear anything.
We took a risk because his background wasn't the finished article by any means.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, before we start today, we're going to carry on with what we've been doing about Japan in a minute. We're going to start with a little quiz. Okay, well,
Before we move on to doing the timetable, the whole purpose of that exercise was to have a look at what you're currently doing.
As head of learning development, Jo teaches the alternative curriculum classes.
Here, some techniques for revision. And learn.
I think it's a very unusual role in many places, and you have to be a particularly special person, rather a jack of all trades, because you're dealing with a whole range of special needs in relation to students. You're then dealing with all staff who may come to you about all sorts of issues, and the parents of those youngsters. So it is a huge, huge task, and requires working with different teams of people. So you're an immediate team, but also the communication with all the other teams in the school.
Are you going to use the revision guide?
No.
In September, I was ill-prepared for what secondary education had in store. I thought education was education. I'd worked in university, I'd worked in an FE institution, and just thought education is education is education. I wasn't prepared for how different secondary is. Anybody, volunteer, tell me techniques that you're using.
Revision guides.
Revision guides, internet, great, yep. Yep. Two more. Two more. And I think the steepest learning curve is realising that the teaching side of it is a small aspect of it. Can I have your work in, please? The bigger and more demanding part of it is the sort of social side, the pastoral care, and the amount of emotional energy that costs in dealing with that. And that was hard. That was hard work.
But Jo has no time to recover as she rushes to a meeting with the school's PGCE students.
We have at the minute here on the register, we've got 43 kids that have got statements, but we've got 185 on the register. And the
well, I think the key role is actually managing other staff. I mean, it's leading a team of people. Yes, there's certain sort of professional knowledge, subject knowledge and so on, but that's the key thing. It's being able to work effectively with other people. So it's being able to communicate effectively, certainly orally. Informal communications is important, really, if not more important than formal communications.
Is there any kind of training for teachers? Because obviously we don't really get anything in our PGCE.
The quickest and easiest way to access it is information that's freely available on the web, and we've made packs up in learning development, so if you wanted some information about the various conditions, how it might affect a child, so it can inform your teaching, then it's all there. And I'm happy to give you a copy of this.
Do you find that a lot of people do come to yourself for advice?
Yeah, I do get a lot of people ask, but yeah. And so, well, what worries me more is the ones that don't ask, because they're the ones that clearly aren't identifying that these kids have got different needs and dealing with them differently. So I'm happy when somebody asks me.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent. Only another 2 more to get.
In Gloucester, Andy has a PGCE student in his department. Another new responsibility.
OK, we ready then?
We're helping out another school in order to get him the training and the teaching amounts that he needs. It's a funny relationship. It's been different to having my own student.
That is Victor Meldrew. I thought he'd symbolised all old people.
And I find that because of that, it's more of a help than a hindrance in a lot of ways, in terms of he's taking the lessons, he's doing the plan and the preparation, and I'm there to support and make sure that's going okay.
He's been extremely supportive towards me. You know, he's there and he's there to support you, and he's seems very competent, and I'm a big fan of Andy's.
The management aspects of it are done almost in your spare time. I mean, a head of department has a very high teaching load usually.
I know a lot of the time what I want to do and where I want to be and what I want to achieve, and it only takes half a dozen individuals with their own agenda to just take me off track a little bit.
Things that I do have stresses and problems with is organisation. I still have problems with my own personal organisation and making sure I've got everything up to date. My desk's testing me to that.
And one of the problems that causes is forgetting to do things or rushing to do things without proper consideration or proper communication. And as a result, problems will come later on.
Ed, Joe.
I've messed the deadline up for one of my groups. I thought it was 2 weeks later than it is, and it's actually the week after next, and it's really put the pressure on in terms of making sure I get all their work in.
The school day may have ended for the pupils, but for our new heads of department, work goes on. Andy has a review with his PGCE student, and Joe has to give a presentation to the English department.
Yeah, that was good. What I liked was you displayed those on the board, so it was there. This is what you're going to be doing. Right. And that was there. That was clear. I think you should do that as often as you possibly can.
Yes,
he's probably had more discipline problems than anybody else because he's a new teacher. So picking those up as well has been busy. But the more workloads probably come on through paperwork, having to fill bits and pieces out and profiles and make sure that everything's up to date in that. He's got to produce a folder and he needs us to sign off certain competencies that he's done. So there's paperwork involved, but it's worth it because he's progressing. And if he's progressing, then I'm happy. So it's worth putting the effort in.
Okay, while they're going round, what I'd really like to get is some feedback. Was that the sort of information you knew existed? Any surprises? Is there anything we should be doing differently to help support you?
Certainly what Joe's brought to it is an openness and a willingness to keep asking questions. We're rather fearful about always asking for help when we need it. And I think because there's been an open dialogue between both of us and with others in the school, her learning has been huge, but she has really, I think, in a term and a half taken on a huge amount of information, picked up skills, knowledge base, but also begun to sort out an area which needed quite a lot of work doing with it.
So infrequent that it was quite difficult.
Too infrequent to be effective, probably.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
So with the first week of term over, it's time to reflect.
I'm at home now, sipping on a glass of red wine. It has been a hellish week. It has been so stressful and demanding.
Just checking my baby monitor next to me because my little girl's croaking. She's only just gone down, so hopefully she'll go down. But of course, that means that, as I said, I'm not starting my work until now, 9:30.
So I think all in all, in the boot of my car, I've probably got 6 or 7 hours of work to do.
And I'm piecing my bits together, making sure that everything's ready and prepared.
It's worth it in the long run because, of course, the kids get the support that they so desperately need. But I'm tired, and it's Friday, and we're all on Monday.
What's she say?
Next time, we find out what staff and students really think of our new heads of department.
6 months ago, when she was appointed back in September, we're all a bit, this may not work.
To be honest, at the beginning we thought, with his, what we thought was limited experience, how would he fare?
And with meetings before school, meetings after school, and extra work taken home, what's the effect on their family life?
And I sort of said to Mam, I said, I'll try and take days off when I've not got any of my exam groups. And then I looked at my timetable and realised I was teaching at least one exam group every day.
I've had many a Monday morning when they said, we haven't done anything this weekend, Mum, because you've been working.
The next few weeks is going to be really rumbling on. Okay.